Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyas Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttamaśloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 24, the Renunciation of Kardama Muni. So we are at text 27. So here now, Kardama Muni is going to pray to the Supreme Lord who has appeared his own son as Kapila Muni. Text 27. Aho papachamananam niraye svairamangalai kalena bhuyasanunam prasidanti devata. Translation.
Kardama Muni said, "Oh, after a long time, the demigods of this universe have become pleased with the suffering souls who are in material entanglement because of their own misdeeds." Purport. This material world is a place for suffering, which is due to the misdeeds of the inhabitants, the conditioned souls themselves. The sufferings are not extraneously imposed upon them. Rather, the conditioned souls create their own suffering by their own acts. In the forest, fire takes place automatically. It is not that someone has to go there and set a fire. Because of friction among various trees, fire occurs automatically. When there is too much heat from the forest fire of this material world, the demigods, including Brahmā himself, being harassed, approach the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and appeal to him to alleviate the condition. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends. In other words, when the demigods become distressed by the sufferings of the conditioned souls, they approach the Lord to remedy the suffering, and the personality of Godhead descends. When the Lord descends, all the demigods become enlivened. Therefore, Kardama Muni said, after many, many years of human suffering, all the demigods are now satisfied because Kapiladeva, the incarnation of Godhead, has appeared. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So very special prayer. Aho papachamanana. Kardama Muni says, after a long time, demigods of this universe have become pleased with the suffering souls who are in material entanglement because of their own misdeeds. So, a little tricky prayer. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the material world is dukkhalayam, place of suffering. And this dukkha, it is not that the Lord is happy giving the living entities dukkha in the material world. No. The dukkha comes, the suffering comes because of the misdeeds of the inhabitants. So there is very simple experiment is there. When you go to a calm well or river and you put one stone inside the river, you will see many concentric circles within the river. But you put 2 or 3 stones, you will see many circles, but these circles will be clashing each other. In the material world, what happens is, material world, there is, everybody wants to be center. and therefore the circles are clashing. Everybody wants to enjoy, and therefore the circles are clashing each other. And therefore Prabhupada says, because of simply being the part of the material world, there is the suffering will come. Just like there is a forest fire. Nobody has to go to forest and lit a fire there. No. In the forest fire, the trees are natural, the wind is natural, blowing of the wind is natural, and therefore, when the wind blows, the trees, they will rub over each other, and then automatically there will be fire. Similarly, the case with the material world. And when this material misery extensively increases, then the demigods, along with Brahmaji, they approach the Supreme Lord. So, in a way, the misery coming from the material world actually becomes the cause of the Supreme Lord descending to material world after many, many years of such sufferings. And therefore, here Kardama Muni says, my dear Lord Kapila Muni, you have descended like this, and thanks to the miseries of the material world, which because of your compassion, you have made yourself available in the material world, you have descended here. Text 28. बहुजन्म विपंकेन सम्यग् योग समाधिना द्रष्टुम यतन्ते यतयः शून्यागारेषु यत्पदम्. Translation.
After many births, mature yogis by complete trance in yoga endeavor in secluded places to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Some important things are mentioned here about yoga. The word Bahujanma Vipakvena means after many births of mature yoga practice. And another word, Samayogya Samadhina, means by complete practice of the yoga system. Complete practice of yoga means bhakti yoga unless one comes to the point of bhakti yoga or surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One's yoga practice is not complete. This same point is corroborated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavata. Bahu Janmanam Ante. After many births, the Janani who has matured in transcendental knowledge surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kardama Muni repeats the same statement. After many years and many births of complete practice of yoga, one can see the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in a secluded place. It is not that after one practice some sitting posture, he immediately becomes perfect. One has to perform yoga a long time, many births, to become mature, and a yogi has to practice in a secluded place. One cannot practice yoga in a city or in a public park and declare that he has become God simply by some exchange of dollars. This is all bogus propaganda. Those who are actually yogis practice in a secluded place, and after many births they become successful, provided they surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the completion of yoga. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Further now, Kardama Muni says, Bahujanma Vipakvena Samyag Yoga Samadhina. After many births, mature yogis, by their complete trance in yoga, endeavor in the secluded place to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, please focus on the word Bahujanma Vipakvena, that to get rid of the material existence, especially by yoga practice, needs Bahujanma, after long endeavor. Bahunam Janmanamante, Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Or Prabhupada quotes another this thing in Bhagavad Gita, that Bahunam Janmana, after many births, one will come to this understanding. And what is that Vipakva in yoga? Vipakva in yoga means coming to the conclusion of and practice of devotional service. Right. So somebody becoming devotee in this life means that he must have done a lot of pious activities and lot of yoga activities in his previous life. Then only one has become devotee in this life. Right. And therefore, becoming devotee is considered as the Vipakva avastha of yoga practice. It is the mature practice. Maturity of yoga is devotional service. Another thing Kardama Muni says is that yoga has to be practiced in a secluded place. Chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita very clearly describes this, that Shuchau Deshe Pratisthapya. One has to go to a secluded place, one should sit not very high, not very low. Eyes should not be completely closed or completely open. Sit in a particular posture, and on the tip of the nose, one has to concentrate one's eyes, and this is how one has to meditate for a prolonged period of time. So the modern times, people just say that, come to me, take a mantra from me, take some dollars, and 6 months you will become God yourself. Prabhupada says this is just a bogus propaganda. And more the Kali Yuga will advance, more and more such bogus propaganda will be there. Why? Because people want very fast results nowadays. And yoga is not like that. Yoga takes time. And here, Kardama Muni talks about Bahu Janma Vipakvena Bahunam Janmanamante. Text 29. स एव भगवानाद्य हेरनं न गण्ययन्ः गृहेषु जातो ग्राम्याणां यः स्वानां पक्षपोषणः. Translation.
Not considering the negligence of ordinary householders like us, that very same Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in our homes just to support his devotees. Purport: devotees are so affectionate towards the Personality of Godhead that although he does not appear before those who practice yoga in a secluded place, even for many, many births, he agrees to appear in a householder's home where devotees engage in devotional service without material yoga practice. In other words, devotional service to the Lord is so easy that even a householder can see Supreme Personality of Godhead as one of the members of his household, as his son, as Kardama Muni experienced. He was a householder, although a yogi, but he had the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Muni, as his son. Devotional service is such a powerful transcendental method that it surpasses all other methods of transcendental realization. The Lord therefore says that he lives neither in Vaikuntha nor in the heart of a yogi, but he lives where his pure devotees are always chanting and glorifying him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Bhakta Vatsala. He is never described as Jnani Vatsala or Yogi Vatsala. He is always described as Bhakta Vatsala because he is more inclined towards his devotee than towards other transcendentalists. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that only a devotee can understand him as he is. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. One can understand me only by devotional service, not otherwise. That understanding alone is real because although Gyanis, mental speculators, can realize only the effulgence or the bodily luster of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and yogis can realize only the partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A bhakta not only realizes him as he is, but also associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Hare Krishna.
Sa eva bhagavanadya helanam. So here now, Kardama Muni says, although you are attained by yoga practice, bahujanma vipakvena, and that also in a secluded place, but my dear Lord, you are very, very dear to your devotees, and you are very pleased with your devotees. Although they may not practice such extensive yoga, they may simply stay at home, but still you will appear to them, and not only appear to them, you become one of their relatives. And therefore, the Lord is called as Swanam Paksha Poshana. Paksha Poshana means अपने अपने पार्टी का देख लेना. Okay, supports his own party. So this is the Lord is highly partial towards devotee. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyam. Right. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the devotees are extremely affectionate to the Supreme Lord. Although they may not go to some secluded place to perform yoga practice, but by their affection through devotional service, devotees conquer the Supreme Lord who is Ajita. And thus, the Lord agrees to appear in the household of a devotee who is engaged in devotional service without any yoga practice. Right. So, a devotee may not be doing some hatha yoga or something like that, but simply by being in a performing devotional service in the householder setup, Lord is very pleased and he appears with the devotees. This is the potency of devotional service. This is very true, just 5,000 years ago, when Lord Krishna was here on the planet, all the saints, the great rishis, to find the Supreme Lord, they never went to Himalayas. They never went to even to Dwarka. They used to go where the Pandavas are there. Okay. So the house of Pandavas was very famous for having always the residence of the Supreme Lord. So this is Pandava's house. Right. Why? Because the Lord is pleased with their devotional service. You do not see, Arjuna, Yudhishthir, or doing some extensive yoga or hatha yoga or something like that. No. They are simply engaged in devotional service. Why? Because Prabhupada says devotional service is very easy and sublime. Even the householder can perform, and by the affection, the householder can attract the Lord and become not only appear to him, but the Lord can become one of the relative of such a personality, such a devotee, like the son, or in so many different ways the Lord can relate. This is the potency of devotional service. Prabhupada says, and therefore, by devotional service only one can understand the Supreme Lord. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah. While the other things may appear little more titillating, other things may appear more evolved, or other things may appear more challenging, adventurous, but the simple process of devotional service is actually what is demanded by the Supreme Lord. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. And that's why the Lord is known as Bhakta Vatsala. The Lord is never known as Gyani Vatsala or Yogi Vatsala. The Lord is Bhakta Vatsala. Prabhupada further says, and the reward that devotee receives is also supreme. While the Gyani can only see some effulgence of the Lord, Brahmajyoti, Yogi can see some partial representation, Paramatma, but the devotee of the Lord sees the Supreme Personality of Lord face to face and has pastimes, and the Lord becomes family member of such a personality. So this is the glory of devotional service. Now look at the mood of Kardama and the discussion between Kardama Muni and Kapila Muni. Kapila is the son of Kardama, and the father is praying, and the father is saying that, my dear Kardama, my dear Kapila, I did not undergo such a huge austerities as typically the yogis are supposed to do. I simply perform devotional service, being at home along with my wife, and the enjoyment that we have already discussed, the kind of enjoyment Kardama Muni and Devahūti had. And still, my dear Lord, you are so pleased and you have appeared in my house as my family member. And this is how he is praying. So please note the mood of prayer here, right? It's reverential, but there is a different flavor of father thanking the son, and that flavor is also there in this, in this particular discussion of Kardama Muni and Kapiladeva. Text study. Swiyam vakyamrutam kartum avatirnosi avitarnosi me gruhe chikirshur bhagavan jnanam bhaktanam manavardhanah. Translation.
Kardama Muni said, "You, my dear Lord, who are always increasing the honor of your devotees, have descended in my home just to fulfill your word and disseminate the process of real knowledge." Purport. When the Lord appeared before Kardama Muni after his mature yoga practice, he promised that he would become Kardama's son. He descended as the son of Kardama Muni in order to fulfill that promise. Another purpose of his appearance is Chikirshur Bhagavan Jnanam, to distribute knowledge. Therefore, he is called Bhaktanam Manavardhana, Bhaktanam Manavardhana, he who increases the honor of his devotees. By distributing Sankhya, he would increase the honor of his devotees. Therefore, Sankhya philosophy is not dry mental speculation. Sankhya philosophy means devotional service. How could the honor of the devotees be increased unless Sankhya were meant for devotional service? Devotees are not interested in speculative knowledge. Therefore, the Sankhya enunciated by Kapila Muni is meant to establish one firmly in devotional service. Real knowledge and real liberation is to surrender unto Supreme Personality of Godhead and to engage in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Further, Kardama Muni says the second reason of appearance of the Supreme Lord. So, previous verse, beautiful statement here, Paksha Poshana, Swanam Paksha Poshana. And now in this verse, Kardama Muni says, you have appeared for Bhaktanam Manavardhanaha, that you have appeared to increase the man or the honor of the devotees and also to disseminate the knowledge, that is Jnana. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that the Lord appeared before Kardama to fulfill his own words. Being pleased by the austerities of Kardama Muni, Lord Viṣṇu, he blessed Kardama Muni that he personally will appear as his son, and now he's fulfilling his own words. So he's fulfilling his own promise. And second, he wanted to enunciate the system of Sankhya Yoga. And for these two reasons, the Lord has appeared. Prabhupada explains here, the Lord increases the honor of his devotees. Right? So, otherwise, who will know Kardama Muni, Devahūti? There are so many thousands of great personalities who have appeared, they have come and gone, they have just become the names in the list of history. Right? But they are not glorified. In fact, there is a very interesting discussion where, Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he is in great distress, they have lost everything in that Asat Sabha, that gambling match. And he is asking Dhaumya Muni that was there any saintly person, saintly king who was as dharmaparayan as me and suffered like me or more than me? And this is the question Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking. And Dhaumya says, my dear Yudhishthira, yes, there was a dharmaparayan king like you. He suffered more than you, but he did not become famous like you. And you have become famous especially because you are great devotee of the Supreme Lord. And then he goes on to tell the story of Nala Damayanti. And what a story it is. Nala Damayanti and Yudhishthira Maharaj. So that how King Nala was such a great saintly person, but he was simply a dharmic person, but he was not devotee of the Lord. So as soon as one becomes devotee of the Lord, he is Bhaktanam Manavardhanaha. The Lord personally sees that the honor of his devotee is expanded. And second is Sankhya. And Prabhupada says the real Sankhya means actually it is culmination of Sankhya is devotional service. So there is no difference between Sankhya Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. One will naturally and automatically will engage in devotional service. Text 31. तान्येव तेभिरूपाणि रूपाणि भगवंस्तया यानि यानि च रोचन्ते स्वजनानाम् arupinah. Translation.
My dear Lord, although you have no material form, you have your own innumerable forms. They truly are your transcendental forms, which are pleasing to your devotees. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord is one absolute, but he has ananta or innumerable forms. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. The Lord is the original form, but still he has multiforms. Those multiforms are manifested by him transcendentally, according to the tests of his multi-devotees. It is understood that once Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord Ramchandra, said that he knew that Narayana, the husband of Lakshmi, and Rama, the husband of Sita, are one and the same, and that there is no difference between Lakshmi and Sita. But as for himself, he liked the form of Lord Ram. In a similar way, some devotee worships the original form of Krishna. When we say Krishna, we refer to all forms of the Lord, not only Krishna, but Ram, Narsimha, Varaha, Narayan, etc. The varieties of transcendental forms exist simultaneously. That is also stated in the Brahma Samhita. Rama Dimurtishu Kala Niyamena Tishthanana Avataram. He already exists in multi-forms, but none of the forms are material. Sridhar Swami has commented that Arupinaha, without form, means without material form. The Lord has form, otherwise how can it be stated here? Tani evate virupani rupani bhagavam stava. You have your forms, but they are not material. Materially, you have no form, but spiritually, transcendentally, you have multi-forms. Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand these transcendental forms of the Lord, and being disappointed, they say that the Supreme Lord is impersonal. But that is not a fact. Whenever there is form, there is a person. Many times in many Vedic literatures, the Lord is described as Purusha, which means the original form, the original enjoyer. The conclusion is that the Lord has no material form, and yet, according to the liking of different grades of devotees, he simultaneously exists in multi-forms, such as Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, Narayan, and Mukunda. There are many thousands and thousands of forms, but they are all Vishnu Tattva Krishna.
Kardama says, my dear Lord, although you have no material form, arupinaha, you have your own innumerable forms, and you appear in those forms, rochante swajananam arupinaha. In the form you appear, that is very pleasing to your devotees. So the same thread we have seen even previously as well, that rochante swajananam. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Brahma Samhita describes about different forms of the Lord. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Ananta Rupam. The Lord has Ananta forms. We know hardly 10-15 forms of the Lord. Some other day, some other devotee will pray and some other form of the Lord will descend. So Lord doesn't take a form to satisfy the desire of a devotee. All these forms are already existing, and the Lord simply descends in that particular form, right? We have previously seen this, that it is not that after Hiranyakashipu said, neither the animal nor the human should kill me, and then this Naranarayana form, or the Narasimha form was manufactured. No, Narasimha form existed even before birth of Hiranyakashipu. Narasimha form is eternal form of the Lord. That form manifested in the material world by this Leela of Hiranyakashipu asking this particular benediction. So similarly, there are billions of form of the Lord which are existing in the spiritual realm, and we have no access to these forms. But a particular devotee will come, and based on the prayer of that devotee, based on the situation of that particular form will descend, and we'll say, oh, now the Lord has come as Matsya Avatar, Varaha Avatar, or the Lord has come as Narasimha Avatar, so on and so forth. So these are the Ananta Rupam, unlimited forms of the Supreme Lord. And these forms are very pleasing to his devotees. Rochante Swajanana. Srila Prabhupada gives example of Hanumanji. Although Hanumanji was aware of all different forms of the Lord, but specifically, he was a great devotee of Lord Ramachandra. He knew that, Lord Ramachandra is Narayana, Sita Devi is Lakshmi Mata herself, Lakshmi ji herself. But he was attracted to form of Ram and Sita, and that's how Swarochante, that's how the devotee is attracted towards a particular form. Prabhupada says here that sometimes devotees, in a similar way, some devotees worship the original form of the Lord, Krishna. Somebody is worshipping Bala Krishna, somebody is worshipping, the Dwaraka Krishna. Prabhupada says, when we say Krishna, we refer to all forms of the Lord, not only Krishna, but Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, Narayana. All these different forms of the Lord are included when we say Krishna, because Krishna is Karshati, Akarshati, iti Krishna. So these are the transcendental great variety of the forms. Now Prabhupada talks about this word arupinaha. Sometimes people say arupinaha. See, Lord is arupina. He doesn't have a form, and now he has taken the form. No, that is not the explanation. Even Sridhara Swami explains arupinaha means without material form. Without material form doesn't mean that the Lord doesn't have a form. Just like, very simple way to understand is you ask somebody, you ask your friend, so do you have home loan? And the friend says, no, I don't have home loan. And you say, oh my God, you don't have home loan. So we may conclude because you don't have home loan means you don't have home. Because we can purchase a home only by a home loan. Most of the Janta, most of the public can purchase a house only by home loan. So for them, the understanding is somebody has a home loan means somebody has a home means he has a home loan. But there may exist some personality who is financially independent, who doesn't have home loan, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a home, right? Very simple example. Somebody doesn't have a home loan doesn't mean that he doesn't have a home. Somebody can be there who doesn't have a home loan, but he has a home. Not only home, he may have multiple homes, right? So similarly, the Lord is called as Arupinaha doesn't mean he doesn't have Rupa. No, he has Ananta Rupa. He has many, many forms. But Arupina means he doesn't have a material form. He doesn't have a home loan, right? But he has Ananta Rupa. And this is the Vedic instruction. The Lord is called as Purushaha with many, many thousands and thousands of forms. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you,
Jai.
Prabhupada. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.